Hello, and welcome to Cult Storytime. I'm Angel, and we are all in the end of the world right now. I don't know when you were watching this, but I am filming this March 21st, I think, March 21st, 2020. So everyone is in coronavirus lockdown, and it feels like it's the end of the world. And so people are freaking out. And having grown up in a apocalyptic cult called the Children of God, the end of the world was always coming for me. So with like being on lockdown, being stuck in the house, and having like the National Guard being flown in, and being like, this, we might have to stay in our houses. I'm like, oh, this again. This is familiar to me. This is how I've lived my life. So I am, I think, less stressed out about other people than the end of the world. And so I just wanted to make this channel and just tell my stories because we're all stuck in the house. We're all fairly bored and we all need to be entertained. And I figured I would just do these videos, these daily videos, and just do cult story time. So if you want to wake up and be entertained, I got you. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I figured I would just start at the beginning where people ask me, like, how did I join? And I didn't know I was joining. I was born into it. So as I was birthed, as I came into the world, I was born into it. So I joined against my will. Nobody informed me that I would be joining a cult. So I was born and raised in it. I was actually born in China. I'm half Chinese, but I don't speak Chinese. And I lived in Japan, so I speak Japanese. So it's very confusing. And this is the symbol of the cult. And oh my gosh, should I just break down the symbol? How exciting! Okay, we'll just break down the symbol um, because we'll have a lot to talk about. This is okay. I don't know if you can see, but it says Mo Letters by Moses David. And this is volume 2. This is part of the literature that they would put out. And then this symbol, later, much later, after this was produced, they added a Bible here because they were like, we should be founded on the Word of God. But this just tells you how they were not founded on the Word of God. So the sword in the middle is the sword of the Lord, or this, yeah, it's the sword of the Lord. And then this harp is um, the music that David played, King David as a shepherd. He played the harp, so that's in there. You can see an actual heart in there for love. And then also the shape of the harp, by the way, is also the shape of a yoke um, that ox wear, because they worked us like motherfucking oxen. Just kidding. I'm sure there's another reason for it to be in there. And then this crown is not only the crown of David, but it's also, if you see, there are little stars up there. And what they told us is if we behaved and we did good things and we like didn't yell when they beat us, we would get more stars on our crown in heaven. So that is symbolic of both those things of um, King David being a king, and then also like having stars on your crown. And then if you look at the top, there is a triangle and then a rainbow at the top of the sword. The triangle is heaven. We were told that heaven was a triangle structure in the moon. I'll have to break that down in a different video. And then the rainbow is part of God's promise that he wouldn't again um, destroy the world with a flood of water, but it's supposed to be just God's promise that he's going to take care of us. So this was the symbol, and like I said, later on they added a Bible at the bottom because they were like, oh, we should be founded in the Word of God. I actually wonder if I have something that's the altered symbol. Let me check. Hold on. It's much smaller, but that is the symbol, and later on they added the Bible because they were like, wait a second, we need to front like we're Christians. So that's what they did. But anyways, that's the breakdown of the symbol. Now let me get to the leader. The leader's name was David Berg. He started the cult in 1969. And then it started in Huntington Beach, California, which I live next to and I drive by every once in a while. And I'm like, Anyways, after he got a bunch of recruits, because it was 1969, so everybody was a hippie, which I have feelings about. Like, calm down. Anyways, after that, they went and they moved into this big ranch in Texas. If anyone remembers the name of the ranch, let me know, because I know a bunch of people are ex-members. So if you remember the name of the ranch, let me know and I'll put it in. But anyway, so they were there for a while, and then the authorities started coming for him because the leader was a criminal. I know this is shocking, but the leader was a criminal. So the authorities started looking for him. So then, right about that time that the authorities started looking for him, he got a message from God that people need to go into in Mark 3:16, go ye into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Conditioning works. Anyways, so he made all his followers leave and he started calling America a whore. And he was like, we need to leave the whore and go into all the world and preach the gospel. So everyone dispersed and started opening up like communes all over the world. And so I ended up in one of those communes in Japan. But I speak perfect English because well, in theory, perfect English. Depending on who you are, I speak perfect English. And because all the literature, like all this literature is in English. And in order to join, there's a picture that says, I'm a toilet. We'll discuss it later. Oh no. In order to join, you had to understand English and you had to believe a couple of verses in the Bible, and you had to believe that this person, Moses David, was his alias. He also made us call him Grandpa. But anyways, you had to believe that he was a prophet. And if you were willing to believe that he was a prophet, everything else that came after that made sense. So there were a lot of people who joined. And they were willing to believe that one irrational belief that he was a prophet, and everything else after that made sense. So this is the intro. So now you know, name the cult, children of God, leader of the cult, symbol of the cult, Moses David, David Berg, or Grandpa. Here's a picture of him. This is not a real picture. This is how he wanted to be perceived. So it's him as a lion because he saw himself as an alpha. And what's more alpha than being a man with a lion head? But anyways, that's intro one. There's going to be a lot of intro in order to understand the power structure, because that's all a cult is. A cult is just a power structure. So, welcome. Hopefully you are entertained as you're in your home during Corona time. And thank you for being here as always. And I will see you next time.